Contcast for game week 3. I am the host this week, Swan, and we have 4 of us joining up today. We have Darth Crid.
Hello.
Bo.
Hey, guys.
AK.
Hi.
And audio only, we have Jo.
Hi all. Hi everybody.
Okay, so this week in the community, we have about a third of folks who have hit the wildcard button or are planning on doing it, and then the rest of us are probably looking at getting 1 to 2 transfers done. Many, I think, of us are taking hits. So I think it's best to start. Let's take a look at this week first, see what we think. Maybe for those who aren't wildcarding at the moment, what are the best ones to jump on? Obviously, Pookie and KDB's massive returns last week has led to a major bandwagon. Martial and Rashford as well. So what do we see? And I'll start from the top of my screen with Darth Crid for this particular week coming up, and maybe the list of the next. What we see as the best options? Is it need Kane because he has half with Newcastle? Is it jump on the bandwagons that I just mentioned? Is it do a luxury of maybe Salah and Mane and moving the money around? What are your thoughts? So we'll start with Darth Crid.
Well, for me, I've avoided the wild card. If I was wildcarding this week, I'd be looking at definitely KDB, because I think City are they're too good and too attacking just to have Sterling as an attacking force. And I watched that game last week, and he was seriously, he was almost like playing up front, most of the time. I know he sort of goes all around the midfield, but he was putting in so many crosses and he was in the box a lot, and I'd be going for him. Obviously, the big danger man this week is Kane. I'm personally going without, and I'll be hiding during that game, like I was during the Aston Villa game in the first week. But I just, with having, I've personally got like Sterling, Salah, and I have KDB as well, so it just wouldn't fit to get Kane in unless I had no defence, and I still think there's a lot of yardage in having premium defenders. So I'm going without Kane, and I will do hopefully for a considerable time unless he really goes crazy. So I'm sort of if I was wildcarding, I'd probably maybe get Kane even just for the next couple, just because I think those fixtures are really good. But as I'm not wildcarding now, I think I'm going to go without. I don't think that having him is as important enough to do that decision.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, he on paper it looks, and especially what's going on with Newcastle right now in general, the players saying they don't know what their positions are, what their roles are. It does look a fixture where you're definitely going to need to hide come Sunday afternoon. Bo, I know you had some thoughts in terms of doing individual transfers, maybe to just kind of ride through the current fixtures coming up 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm not on wildcard this week, but if I was, I think I'd be looking at maybe Manchester United defence. Definitely Spurs. Kane is probably the likeliest, option, the safest pick to go. You could captain him as well. I know Top Marks is on wildcard this week, and he's looking at Heung-min Son. He's kind of a pick I like, but in that price bracket, I think I'd prefer to play a bit safer with De Bruyne, who seems to be in good form at the minute. Outside of that, it's kind of the usual suspects: a Liverpool midfielder, maybe Salah or Mane, whoever you fancy more. And I think Everton defence is still quite popular given their nice run of fixtures. They've still got another maybe 5 or 6 game weeks that are kind of hold good potential, keep points, keep clean sheets in. So I think once those main areas are covered, it's a case of just filling in the blanks with whoever you kind of fancy. A few punts, few differentials.
And AK, I can't remember if you're on wildcard or not. I know.
I am.
You are? Okay,
yeah.
So
yeah.
What's your perspective then, since you're now looking at a longer-term plan from wildcarding now? Your thoughts on Kane, who maybe the next 2 are good, and then it kind of mixes up. Son should be back up to speed by then, so we don't know how that'll affect him.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to go for Kane. Definitely going to go for Kane because his home fixtures are really nice, and the way they played at home against Villa, I mean, it's Villa, fine. I get that they wanted a point there and they just started defending altogether at 30 minutes mark. But the fixtures are really good, the home fixtures, and that's what I'm banking on with Kane. And I also think he's a little underpriced at 11 because I think he's gonna get a 25 or 30 league goals this season, around about that. So I'm definitely gonna have Kane in my team. And about Son, I like him definitely, but I would like to see him start a game first before jumping on him.
Mhm.
And I also think that there's only 1.5 million. The price difference is only 1.5 million between them. So I think Kane is worth the premium over Son.
Yeah, he's certainly an explosive option. One you could still captain though, Son. But I'm with you. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
He is rested, obviously, but I'm not sure how him coming back into the team right now. And Dembele has, he hasn't played with him yet, except in preseason. What the form is going to be like to start. So for those of us who are on wildcard, I'm not, but I'm planning on it around the first or second IB. That time I think for the next two to evaluate whether it's Kane or Son, and whatever the price is, it is. But I think waiting for the time factor is a good one for that. Jo, your thoughts?
Well, so what I found really interesting is that most wildcarders are on Mane instead of Salah. Personally, if I wasn't on wildcard right now, I would not even consider not going with Salah because obviously we've got those stats from 2019, Mane scoring more, etc. But are you really comfortable captaining Mane? I wouldn't be, comfortable giving him the armband every second week, let's say. So for me, Salah and Sterling would be the first two names on the team sheet if I was wildcarding. And obviously, there's this big division between the Kane owners or non-owners. I have huge doubts myself. I could probably bring in Kane for -4 for a hit for Firmino, but I'm just not. He didn't look really that good against Aston Villa. I thought those two last goals were really kind of fluky. Maybe the last goal was only because of Aston Villa being really tired after 90 minutes. So it's a tough one. It's a really kind of a 50-50 decision that will kind of sway the whole game, I feel. So not sure about Kane, but yeah, definitely Salah and Sterling. And I would be concerned if I didn't go with Salah on my wildcard. So good luck to anyone who isn't, but he's still the most popular pick in the game, and he's probably going to have effective ownership over 100% most of game weeks. So I will be concerned about that.
Yeah, going without Salah on wildcard. Well, I guess you could make a case for it. This right here would scare the hell out of me if you don't have him on wildcard and you come up to game week 5 with Newcastle at home. Again, Mane could be just as easy an option, but you're not going to captain him. So then you have to look at what the other captainable options are that particular week. Most would probably say, Sterling away to Norwich. But it just to me, I would tend to agree, but he's not an essential one on the wild card, especially if you're going to use that 1 million somewhere else. But for what it gives you, I've been saying this in the group for a couple of weeks. The 1 million is not much more to pay for the extra instead of what he gives you plus penalties. I mean, last year,
yes.
2.5 million, which is a different story. And then this year, 1 million is not as much. So here's the ticker sorted for the next few weeks based on attack. I'll just get out of the Liverpool piece for this. So we can kind of take a look at what we see. I'm going to remove City from the discussion because no matter what the fixtures are, most people are going to have a bunch of City anyway because of how well they can do. But they are still third for attack over the next 7 or 8 that I have here. You can see who's number 1. No, just kidding. So everybody get McGinn in your teams. But if you're on wild card, I think having McGinn in there is fine as a 4th or 5th attacker if you're not too sold on the other ones in that range, like Mason Mount and Pulisic and so forth. West Ham are up there as well. I don't know if any of us would look at them defensive-wise, but you have Lanzini. Haller is back now as well after being with a knock. Chelsea's next 2 were good until we saw Sheffield last week, and now it's unknown how they're going to play because they look pretty solid at the back. But Chelsea's next 2 look to be really good, and then again picking up past 7. So if you are on wild card, I'll start with AK since he is. Who are the key guys you're going to have for maybe beyond the Salah, Sterling, Kane that you would want to have in your team for this? Is it a Chelsea mid? Is it a Villa mid, or is it 3-5-2? How about that?
The thing is, I don't have either. I don't have a Villa mid. I don't have a Chelsea mid as well. My midfield is Martial. I have Martial, KDB, Sterling, and Mane. Of course, I'm scared about Salah, as Joe said, but I just can't get the million out of my team to get Salah right now. And the fifth mid is Cantwell, because let's call him Cantwell, because I think at 4.5 or even 4.6 now, he is very underpriced, because we know he's going to be a starting midfielder because Hernandez is out for at least 3 months, I think. So he is essentially a 5.5 or a 6 million midfielder playing for Norwich, which is pretty decent, I think, and I want to have him for sure. If you were to get a Chelsea midfielder, it will have to be Mount for sure, or Pulisic. But Pulisic is not getting 90 right now. Mount has got 90 minutes in both the games, so I think Mount wins it right now over Pulisic.
Last week, you were really excited about Pulisic when we talked. And
I was,
after watching him in the Super Cup, and I was, you were
Yeah.
saying if you wildcarding, you'd be right in there. Now it's Mount. So, I mean,
exactly.
Did you see enough in that one game to be sure that Mount was the one going
So the
forward?
thing is, yeah, I think Pulisic did not have a great game. I was not very impressed with him, but I know he's going to be one of the most nailed-on players for Chelsea.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, Mount was really good in that game. I think he was the best attacker, even though our attack did not really click, I think, in that game. But the first half was really good, and Mount looked really nice. And at 6.1, it's difficult to ignore him, because and also the fact is that Barkley, I was expecting Barkley to come in for Mount, and Mount to be subbed off, especially after, I think, I don't know, I think I thought Mount would get 65, 70 max, but he's getting 90. So that's a little too much. It's too good for that price.
Yeah.
And he looked good. He looked really good to me. So,
Yeah, when you're deciding at that price point, 7.5, which is what Pulisic was, Martial was 7.5. He's not much more than that now, and playing.
Yeah, that is there as well. Exactly. So I really like Martial, because of course he's playing out of position and he's a very productive player. So yeah, it's an easy choice between Martial and Pulisic right now for that price range.
Well, how about what cheaper players would you go, or would you suggest wildcard teams do to fill out their team?
Well, I think there's definitely a case for having somebody in that range, that kind of 5.5 to 6.5 range midfielder. There's a lot of option there. There's Aston Villa, we can see there with the ticker that they kind of have a nice run of games. I'd be looking at someone maybe like McGinn, or maybe even Trezeguet at 5.5. I think after this week, or maybe it's the following week, Arsenal's fixtures start to turn a little bit more favourable. So maybe someone like Ceballos, is that how you say his name?
I believe so.
I mean, he's like keeping up as well. So if he continues playing in that kind of central role, he's like, on set pieces, and he's playing a little bit more advanced. He certainly looks a tidy little player. He could be good for FPL. So I think just having somebody that you can kind of hop around between, whoever looks the best between, maybe, someone like Mount or Trezeguet or McGinn or Ceballos, just having that bit of flexibility. Because 2 weeks, we probably learn a little bit more over the next 2 weeks about who's definitely worth getting in.
We haven't seen how Pepe is going to work in this team either. So, that's another reason to kind of want to wait. Yeah. Jo, your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts is that, as Bo said, there are so many uncertainties, like especially in those mid-price bracket, like Ceballos, Mason Mount to an extent, and some other really cheap midfielders, maybe like Trezeguet as well. So maybe it's like 1 or 2 weeks too early to wildcard, because I'm not certain on any of those really. Mm-hmm. So when I was looking at possible Ayoze Perez replacement for myself, I was like, there's nobody really to pick from. Like, those options aren't really exciting to me at the moment, and I still want to see more. But gun to the head, probably Ceballos, because he looked really threatening and really probably the best player on the pitch, probably the best player the whole weekend, last game week. So him, Mason Mount, as AK said, he's playing much more than expected. So even though I'm not a big fan of his, he's probably worth getting in before those two next fixtures.
Yep.
And that's it, really, from midfield options. I need to see more, basically.
Up front, I think on wildcard, besides the flying Finn, I think you have, many people can go Kane. I just was looking now for a later wildcard, game week 5 or 6 or later. I had my eye going back to Aubameyang, or maybe even Lacazette if he's healthy for this particular run. Then, no, now that I see it, if you look at what Kane has up here, besides Liverpool, that's pretty good. I mean, in between Chelsea and Watford, or Crystal Palace and Watford, versus Liverpool between Watford and Sheffield. Could see it being, a little bit more in Kane's advantage. The option, though, obviously there is to get Son in the midfield for that particular run, and you're a wild card. Son, City, or two midfielders, Liverpool, and then a cheapo. But for one last thing on wild card before we get into teams, if you're gonna go with one heavy and two cheapies up top, or three cheapies, what do you feel is the better way to proceed with that? So, Darth Crid, do you want to kind of give your first thought?
In terms of strikers, you mean?
Yeah, in terms of strikers.
Yeah. Well, at the moment, obviously, if you're going with the the big striker up front, I feel it has to be Kane at least for the next couple. And as you say, I think to be honest, this season, I think up front, Kane and Aubameyang are perhaps the only 10 or 11 million plus forwards I'd look at. Really, I think Aguero is a bit iffy this year especially when you have Sterling and KDB, and Jesus is getting a lot more time now. So I feel like people have already done the Kane and Aubameyang swap already, but I mean, for the next couple, I'd probably have Kane, and then when Arsenal get these next tricky fixtures out of the way, I think Liverpool and Spurs, then I'd start to look to him, or even Lacazette, I guess. As for budget midfielders, budget forwards, I think obviously Pucky right now is the one that everyone wants, and I've jumped on the bandwagon. And I think it's one at this stage worth getting on. You can ride the price rises for the next couple of weeks, and it'll be shoot up, and also just the fact that he's the focal point of what seems to be like an attacking team that hasn't really altered their philosophy from the Championship. They will concede, but at the same time, they're going to get in good areas and score quite a few goals. He showed that against Liverpool. He had a few chances, not just the one he scored. Obviously, Newcastle are pretty poor, so it's hard to judge, exactly there. But I think the Chelsea game this weekend will be another good example of that. There's just not the budget forwards haven't really shined so far. Apart from him, it's really been the premiums that have been firing. So I mean, I know King and Wilson have both got returns, but not very convincing. King got a penalty, and then Wilson's just had assists.
Right.
Yotta's not done anything. Keane still has to come in the team, but he's one to watch, same as Haller. I think, personally, I feel it's a bit too early to have like a full picture of what perhaps are the best options or the best structure to go in. So, I'm personally holding my wild card until it gets a bit clearer, and then sort of see which players are the real deal, which ones have just had a good week or two or a bad week or two. So, yeah, I feel now perhaps obviously Kane is the worry, and if I was going for one big striker and one budget, I'd go with Kane and Pucky, and then it depends on your structure. Most have Greenwood, I assume, but you could always go with one of the others. But that's what I'd look for right now, really.
Yep. I mean, and Bo's made this point before. If you're not on wild card, I get the argument of waiting on Pucky, considering the next three, which while we know he can score, he's proven that so far in the first two games. There's a case to be made that maybe the hat trick might be what he gets for the next couple. Definitely, you would think City would focus on him a lot better, and then Burnley away is very tough. But if you're on wild card, I don't see how you can't go with him, especially with the fact that he'll be 7 million very, very shortly, and maybe even higher than that if he even gets anything against Chelsea or West Ham.
Yeah.
By the way, people want to say hi to Phil.
Hey.
Was commenting. So both thoughts on forwards?
Yeah, I don't really think I have much more to add than what Dark Crid's already said. I'd be personally looking at getting Lacazette in a couple of weeks. I think he's going to be a really good player.
So do I.
He's a player that I kind of fancied eyeing up that fixture change for Arsenal. I mean, Aubameyang is great. He's 11 million. I know he may be playing a little bit wider, but he certainly seems to be getting points even in that wide position. But I just kind of fancy Lacazette being more central, and I don't know what there is. Is it 1.5 million or just 5 million or 0.5 million?
Between those two.
Yeah, I kind of like that gap. It kind of allows to put the money somewhere else. But yeah, as far as the kind of more budget-friendly forwards, I agree there. We haven't really seen, what they have to offer. Kane hasn't really been in the team, and there's just a lot of other factors that are kind of stopping us from getting a good look at other players. I mean, if I was looking at getting someone in now on wildcard, maybe Haller for West Ham, but ideally I'd like to see how he gets on over a game or two. Likewise with Maupay for Brighton. Outside of that, it's kind of the usual suspects. Pukki is a great option. He's on form. Personally, I'd just like to wait and see how he gets on over the next 3 games. I mean, of course, I'm going to lose value with his price rises, but the way I'm looking at it is with someone like Lundstrom in the team at 4 million, essentially I view him as a 4.5 million defender. So, any money that I'm losing out on Pukki, I feel like I'm saving from having someone like Lundstrom. So I don't mind the price rises if it lets me have a better look at him over the next few weeks.
Yeah, I think one under the radar pick that we haven't perhaps noticed, we're talking about sort of cheaper midfielders. Looking at obviously the West Ham fixtures would be Lanzini. He was brilliant on in the game at the weekend. He made the goal and he was like doing lots of key passes and chances and he's like he has got good history in fantasy, but obviously he had the injuries and stuff. But people are on the fence about Haller and stuff.
I know Profit's big on Lanzini at the minute.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he's definitely one I'd be looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the fixtures coming up and his involvement, and he is someone you can jump on in that sort of 6 to 7 or 6 to 7.5 million range. If you're looking for a fourth mid.
I think the only reason maybe people aren't considering him is the midfield's so crowded. I mean, you're definitely keeping Sterling. You most likely are keeping one pool midfielder. Most people are going to want Martial for where he's playing right now. So
definitely a punt.
Yeah. Versus the forward line, which is a lot more unknown at this point. I mean, the reason Pukki's rising so much is because all the other cheap options are pretty much flopped. I mean, King had a goal and Wilson had 1 goal, but they didn't return like we thought they would in the first 2. We don't know who Brighton, is going to really start for week yet. So everything's converging there. So AK as the wild carder, thoughts on forwards, and then we'll switch quickly into defenders and where we can see some deep options.
Yeah, nothing to add really. My wild card has 3 forwards. It's Pukki, Kane, and Greenwood or Wickham, whoever is not dropping in price. So it's gonna be out of these 3. Holler, I've seen people I think Jossie is going for Barnes, and I think Late Riser is looking at I think Holler, but I think it's just safe to go with Kane and Pukki right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much what I'm doing because I'm really Kane is a major reason for me for wildcarding. Kane, KDB, and Martial. These are the main factors that push me into a wildcard.
Yeah.
I'm definitely keeping Kane, Pukki, and whichever 4.5 forward is not dropping.
Yeah. Okay, we move over to. I'll reshift it for defense. So again, leaving City's probably at the top, which they are obviously. So I would think all of us are going to have, if not a 1 City defender, maybe a double up. I don't know. I know it's expensive, but for those here, you have. I mean, Chelsea's second, but I don't know, AK, if we're convinced that's a way to go. Obviously, Digne is up there with Everton. West Ham also, while the fixtures are there, we don't know again how solid they're going to be. Villa's good because they're cheap at least. So if you could pick one, but where do we see the value in terms of defense, both for those on wildcard and those who are not? So those who are not, if you're looking to lose one of your Liverpool defenders, if we have two, which many of us started with, where would you shift it at this point? I know Bo mentioned Maguire. So Bo, do you want to kind of start us off where you see, both the way you can shift if you're not on wildcard and if you are, with keep one if you would go for? Besides Lundstrom, who I think we're all going to go on.
Sorry, did you say me?
Yeah. Just where would you think? Because I know you mentioned Maguire earlier. So
yeah. Do you mean like as a downgrade from a Liverpool defender? Or?
Yeah, that, or if you are on wildcard too, where would you find like the value in the cheap defenders? Lundstrom is high, I think we'll all have him. So
I mean, obviously Everton. There's a debate over whether they should have gotten the 2 clean sheets that they got, but the fixtures are still good and they're kind of in high demand at the moment between kind of attacking threat of Digne and the kind of reliability of Coleman. He's probably a little bit less predictable in when he's going to get attacking returns, but we kind of know he's capable of them every now and then. Mina's an interesting one because, in the past he's shown that he has a lot of set piece threat, headers from corners and things like that. We probably haven't really seen that at Everton, but now that he's starting a lot with Zuma not at Everton anymore, I guess there's that opportunity for him to kind of show what he has on set pieces. So there's a lot of kind of 5.5 options there for Everton that are interesting. It's obviously kind of between Wan-Bissaka and Maguire for United. I fancy Maguire more myself. I kind of like that, add a bit of set piece threat. I don't really think Wan-Bissaka is, the likely guy to kind of get many assists. He's certainly good for bonus, though. Don't get me wrong. Trying to think who else. I know in a couple of weeks, maybe Arsenal and Tottenham's fixtures kind of ease up a little bit. So that might be one to consider over the next 2 weeks, keeping an eye on how they do in their fixtures and who looks kind of threatening. Outside of that, I'd kind of be a bit wary dropping down to a 4.5 or in that range. I still think the more premium options have more to give at the minute. I'm kind of struggling. Maybe Brighton, someone like Montoya or Dunk, but after this week they're away to City, so you're probably going to be relying on somebody else in that fixture. So outside of that, I'm not really sure how many other options I'd have. Norwich
has an okay run from 6 to 9, but I'm not sure you know for any of their defenders and that they don't defend. So it makes it kind of tough. And as somebody who started with AML, got in game week 2, Jo, is Bellerin not back for a while? Like if people want to go with AML on a wild card, would you recommend that part? Obviously, next 2 are horrible, but then post that.
Yeah, as long as you can cover him for the next, not even next 2. I actually fancy Arsenal against Tottenham. So as long as you have a defender to play this game week, I think he's still a good option because Bellerin is still back in training. I think it's mid-October that he's predicted to be back. So I think you can still get like 5-6 fixtures out of him. He was still quite attacking against Burnley, so I do like him. I don't think there are many other options at this price range. So he's a good option, yeah. But obviously nobody's going for him because of the next 2 fixtures.
I think mid-October is right around here on the Bournemouth back fixture, somewhere like that. So
yeah, and obviously it's gonna still take some time for him to be match fit. So.
Oh right. AK.
Yep.
Defender options, whether wild card or not wild card.
Definitely, I think Digne is the one that I'm scared of. I don't have him, but I'm looking at him and trying to fit him in, but I can't find the cash for him. The thing is with him that he is very attacking. He has a share of the set pieces at Everton, and Everton look really good at the back. Even though, I saw the stats and they should have conceded, I think, at least 2 goals in these 2 weeks. But I mean, he's given me points in the first 2 weeks, really nice points, and I think he's a great option for the next 8 or 9 weeks. So he's one that I'm really scared of, and the other one that I'm scared of is Trent Alexander-Arnold. Because at the end of the day, it's still Liverpool's defender who had 13 assists last season. I mean, yeah, the eye test, as I spoke in the chat last night, that the eye test is not there with Liverpool defense at all right now. But I think maybe it's a temporary thing. Maybe they will find their feet. And we know Trent Alexander-Arnold is really attacking, and he's still done really well in these two games, attacking-wise. His stats are really good. So he's the one that I'm most scared about. But right now on wildcard, I have Van Bissaka because I think just the guy got like 2 bonus points in a 4-0 win. So he's a bonus magnet. And his clean sheets are worth, say, 5 or 6 points instead of 4 for Maguire. So I just really like that fact. So I've gone for him over Maguire, and I've gone Zinchenko, but I'm not sure about Zinchenko right now. So I'll see what I can do with him. Maybe I hope to get Arnold there, but I can't see a way. I can't find a way. As for the budget options, of course, Leicester have the 4.5 defender Soyuncu, and I think he's a really, really decent defender, priced really nicely to have on the wildcard. And the other one is Montoya. PFF has been really picking him up all preseason, and he's been doing well. And I think Brighton's home fixtures are decent enough that I can put him in and rotate him with a few other options like Lundstrom and Soyuncu and even Cantwell.
Yeah, I mean,
there's also Kyle Walker-Peters, and I don't think anyone from the Cons actually owns him. But I've seen him in some teams all around Twitter. So I'm just wondering what it's some threat from Aurier we've heard about, because I haven't heard anything. And he started the first
Aurier
2 games.
hasn't. I don't think Aurier was even on the bench. So I think I don't know what's going on there with Aurier, but
Isn't he off to PSG or something like that?
Is he?
Aurier? I don't know.
I did hear rumors that he was being looking at a transfer away, but maybe.
Well,
it might
that
just be
would be
gossip
just
columns,
stupid from Tottenham, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Because
that would be very surprising. I mean, they would have sold both of their senior right backs in the same window without replacing them. So
Because
I don't
Kyle
know.
Walker-Peters wasn't that bad as expected actually against City,
Yeah.
and he was a standout performer against Villa. So, possible option at 5 million. Fixtures are there.
There's Foyth as well.
Yeah,
He's back from suspension.
Yeah, it's a good shout. It's a very good shout. He may be my Zinchenko replacement. Who knows? I'll have to see. I might even go for Zinchenko instead.
I mean, option budget-wise too. It's a shame Rico we don't think is nailed anymore, because this isn't too bad when you look at 4 through 7, even Arsenal at home. It's a pretty nice run, but for 4.0, it's decent. But I don't think he is going to play much going forward, not with Daniels back. Even Burnley, I mean, Taylor or whatnot, if you want to give it a shout, 5 through 9 is really nice as well. And that actually might rotate nice if you're going to go back and forth with Lundstrom, because you get Southampton, Norwich all at home, you get Villa on the road, Watford at home, or Watford on the road, Everton at home. It's a nice combination if you're going to go with a 4-5 and a 4-0 last defenders. All right. Anything else on this, or we can get into the rate my teams now, guys? I know there's a lot of questions throughout the group.
Yeah, I think we can.
Okay.
Yeah, let's move on.
So, Boss, I think gave a Kane or no Kane draft. That one is, I'm trying to, that's the non-Kane draft. And then there's one that is Kane. Let me just make sure I have them both up here. And then we can take a look. Yeah. All right. So, he's on wild card. He has 4-6 remaining for the last spot. I think he was debating what to do with that one, or whether it's a downgrade. But as a Kane draft, I think this kind of fits what we've just been talking about for a while. Kane and Poopy, and that's it up front. And then pick your midfield of choice with 2 City and 1 Liverpool. He has gone for AML here as well. And he has gone for one of the Leicester cheapies, as you had mentioned, Jo.
I can see because I'm not on video, so I'm actually trying to get the video on the second device. So just
no worries.
So
for those who do have video, thoughts on this is his Kane draft, and then I'll quickly jump to the non-Kane, which is here. That's the Kane one. Hold on. Here it is. So same midfield, just with Rashford instead of Kane, and then Laporte in the back.
All right, now I do see it. Yeah, it's
Okay.
actually the first time I've seen Maitland-Niles in any draft. So fair play.
Yeah.
You weren't stood next to JK at Old Trafford while Maitland-Niles got an assist and full bonus. I think everyone in the whole stadium knew that he had him in his team after that.
Nice. So at the non-Kane team here, he has triple United. Going Montoya. Looks like it's a rotation for the last spot between Munster and Montoya. And how do you pronounce the name of the defender from Leicester? Jay would probably know. Benoit?
Soyuncu? Who knows? I have no idea.
Him. So, yeah. So, for me personally, I think having Laporte over having Kane, I'm not sure is that big of a change. The key thing here is getting the pen taker and Rashford for $3 million less than the pen taker for Tottenham. I don't know what you guys think between these two teams.
Can you put the Kane one up first?
Yeah, sure.
I personally think the one without Kane is much better. Just from my own point of view, I feel like we've been too hasty to decide that premium defenders is not the way to go. Before pre-season, people talk about 5 at the back, and I mean, a lot of us went sort of with 4 or but 3. But looking at that defense, you've got, well, I wouldn't even class Maitland-Niles as premium. So basically, you've got 5 budget defenders to pile the money up front, and obviously that midfield is it's a beast, and you've got Kane as well. But just because the last 2 weeks, Liverpool have clean sheets have dried up, but that won't last forever. Digne's already been rolling in the points for 6 million. I feel there's still so much value in defence. Looking at potentially Liverpool, but Digne and City, whether that's Laporte or Zinchenko or whoever, Wan-Bissaka, people like that. I feel like that is a classic case of being scared of what Kane might do against Newcastle and ripping up your strategy before the season, or ripping up your entire defence just to get one player in. Obviously that the midfield is consistent across the two, but I much prefer the other draft that has Laporte, Wan-Bissaka, which could also be, you could probably get Digne in there instead of one of those if you wanted, or another of the top defenders, and then you'd have Rashford instead of Kane. I feel like Rashford versus Crystal Palace is just as much chance of getting a haul as Kane does against Crystal Palace, and then you've got funds better spread as well. So just not just this thing, but I've seen it in quite a few on in the chat or in Twitter. And so people are ripping up their defenses and going full budget, pretty much out of fear of Kane. Because the midfielders are set: Sterling, Salah, or Mane. Martial, that people are set on those. It's sort of either you go with Kane or without, and if you have all those midfielders, you're going to have to make sacrifices somewhere else. And I personally feel that defense still has a lot of value and it's worth pursuing. So that's my view on that. I much prefer this one that's on the screen, the one with Rashford and Wan-Bissaka and Laporte, which could easily move to Digne or a Liverpool defender as well. If before you confirm tomorrow night. So,
yep.
Yeah.
And you're not far away if you do need to get, like the other one, you're completely locked out of the midfield. So out of the defender, the big defenders, less yourself midfielder.
Like if Alexander-Arnold
you got better structure.
Has a couple of weeks of getting 12 points, 15 points, then suddenly you need to find 3 million just to get a defender in, and then it's just quite messy.
Yep.
Depends how brave you are. Depends, do you have more fear of the premium defenders or of Kane? Obviously you can't have them all, so it depends really what how much you really want all those premiums up front.
Anyone else thoughts on Boston's team?
Well, so Darfgrid mentioned the comparison between Kane and having a premium defender. What I see from the midfield here is that KDB is probably more dispensable than Kane is, in my opinion, if you're building a wildcard team, and there's just 1.5 million difference between them. So obviously, I know everyone is high on De Bruyne right now, but I do think personally that in easier games he's dropping a bit deeper, and he's not as essential. Obviously, he's going to get those 200 points in the season, and he's going to score in most games. But looking at Kane's fixtures, I would definitely go with him over De Bruyne and try to spread the De Bruyne fans, to the defense. But I know it's not something anyone is looking at right now, but. Yeah, this is what I see because I'm not that high on Rashford, especially if you want to double up. I'm not convinced we will score that many goals, and Martial offers much more value at 7.7 right now. But out of those two drafts, I probably like the Rashford one more because if he's really that keen on keeping De Bruyne, then I would probably, get at least some of the funds in defense and go with Rashford instead of Kane.
Yeah.
So.
I see that team has got 3 United, like Wan-Bissaka, Martial, and Rashford. I'm not sure if Boss is a Man United fan or whatever, but
No.
I am as well. And I hate having Man United players sometimes, but as a United fan, but I still think it's sort of maybe a bit too early to kind of judge how we are under Solskjaer. I mean, the Chelsea game is a brilliant result for us, but it was a bit of a freak result. I mean, the first half an hour we were totally outplayed, and then they just sort of fell to pieces a bit. And then the Wolves game, we got lucky. They hit the post a couple of times, Abraham and Emerson. So, if that, I know, obviously they didn't score, but if they'd gone just on the other side of the post, then all these people who want Wan-Bissaka, and he'd basically have had 2 1-pointers in a row, and it wouldn't be a rush to get him in. And against Wolves, I know. We didn't exactly look massively convincing, after we sort of the second half. The first half was good, the second half wasn't. So I'm still not sure we're defensively solid yet. I mean, I know we've bought Maguire and Wan-Bissaka, but we haven't had time to fully gel together, and I still think we maybe need a bit more time before we go all in on United. But they are definitely worth looking at. I mean, Martial, I'm got him in this week because I just think pretty much playing centre forward for a top 6 team at 7.5 is just too good an opportunity no matter what. But to add Rashford to that as well, it might be a bit too much as well. So I do think at the moment there are better options than Wan-Bissaka in terms of, Digne, Liverpool, maybe even Zinchenko report, So
Yeah, I do agree with you, and definitely about this Wan-Bissaka part. I think we've seen in those first 2 game weeks basically what we've seen in preseason is that we will score quite a few goals, but this defense is still... It's not about the defenders themselves, but in transition, we are looking really poor in midfield. We are lacking this central defensive midfielder at the moment. So even as a Maguire owner, I'm not really that confident in him. I'm just hoping for a few goals here and there. But if I was looking at United, I think only Martial is kind of essential. I hate that word, but he's the one you should look at. And I would rather stretch 500,000 to get Digne rather than Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah.
If I could pick one defender for my team, I mean, I've got him. But if I was picking one defender, it'd be Digne because he's nailed on. Apart from, well, obviously I know he might have had a little niggling injury, but I think Silva said today he's fine. He's 6 million, and he's Everton have got, I think, the best fixtures almost until October, November. He's attacking. He's a bonus magnet, and there's a good chance of clean sheet. So he would be my number 1 defender. So I would very easily pick 0.4 million plus Digne over Wan-Bissaka if I had the choice. I mean, sorry, I'd definitely pick
I'm with Joe on
Go ahead, Kate.
Yeah, I'm with Joe on the wildcard thing because I think that midfield has a little too much investment in my opinion, because even as a Chelsea fan, I think, and even though I'm picking up Mount right now, I think there's a possibility that he's going to get benched this week because he looked really tired after 65, 70 minutes. He couldn't run at all. And I think instead of getting rid of Kane, also, I don't really like Rashford at 8.6 playing out of position. I mean, Martial is the one that I'm looking at, definitely. I'm definitely going to have him. But then there's the thing that do I want to double up on United attack No, I'm not sure about that yet. And Rashford playing as a winger, even though he's, Marshall and Rashford are interchanging, I'm not really sure he is like the best value for that position.
Yeah.
I think there's a good chance that, he can downgrade Mount and maybe upgrade Rashford to Kane and find 1.5 somewhere. I don't know how you would do that, but yeah.
Yeah,
I think
Or
Mount
even-
is easily the most dispensable out of all the attackers in that team.
What's making it difficult right now is, as we just spoke earlier, it's the real lack of budget options apart from Pukki up
Yeah.
front. Like pretty much anybody under Rashford's price is a gamble. Apart from
Yeah.
even Pukki might be, but now there's the Bournemouth guys aren't doing well, and all the other options we spoke about, none of them are really firing. So, you have to pay. Obviously, Rashford is 8.5, and as you've said, I'm personally not convinced either. But if you're going for anyone less than that to put money elsewhere, it's a real gamble. It could pay off, but it couldn't.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I think maybe people are wildcarding a bit too early from my point of view. So.
Yeah.
I'd like to wait and see another 2 or 3 game weeks of evidence before I'd consider, my front line.
I think I like the Kane team. The only advice I'd probably give is if he was up to it, I'd maybe say transfer Mount to someone like Cantwell, and then you could put in maybe like a 6 million defender like Digne, and it might add a bit more balance to the team. Because I mean, in terms of midfield and attack, I mean, if there's any other premium options or any other picks, he's plenty of choice and plenty of opportunity to easily swap to them or downgrade. Whereas the same can't necessarily be said, to defense if, Digne goes on a nice run or Trent Alexander or someone like that. So it's just something that I'd probably be looking to do.
You set your structure that way then too, because you have one big price in all 3 areas, which make it
exactly.
move on to anybody else that might be like a sideways move at the same price. So,
or you could put a 5.5 defender in and upgrade Maitland-Niles to another 5.5. There's a good few options to distribute the cash there.
Okay, I want to keep moving on because we got a lot to get through. So I'll take Bo, since you just had a thought and you're not wild carding. Let's take a look at Double G's team. So he's not on a wild card. He has 1 free transfer in 0.8. He did the great move of King to Pukki last week. So he's looking either Wilson to Rashford or Wilson and lose one of his Liverpool defenders. Virgil van Dijk for Kane and Lundy, who's now 0.1 expensive more and will be 0.2 after tonight, it looks like. So what are your thoughts?
So he wants to downgrade Van Dijk to Lundstram and Wilson to Kane. Is that what it is?
One of his options, or it says Wilson to Rashford, or roll the transfer as well.
Yeah, I think they're good moves. I like them. Because obviously he's got, a very strong back 5 there, and they'll probably be looking to lose somebody. And then bringing in Kane kind of rebalances a little bit, giving him that option and, a premium player with a really good fixture this week that you might even want to captain. So, that I kind of like that move.
I do too. With wildcard in the back pocket, I think getting Kane now with like this and getting Lundy, who will be a cash cow going forward, I think is probably the right move.
Yeah.
Even for
I mean, he's got Salah, Sterling, Martial, Pukki. I mean, it's kind of just sealing up the last few gaps there.
Yeah. Keep talking. I got the door. I'll be right back. Go ahead, guys.
I think
I would definitely do that. Yeah, I like that move because he's still got Liverpool defender. He's still got Well, you'd have 4. I think 4 premium defenders would be enough if you have Lundstram, and if losing just one allowed to get Kane, I think that's pretty much a no-brainer. So,
but the problem is, I think who is he gonna play then? I mean, Lundstram this week may be fine, but
I would play. I'm not sure if he's going for 3 or would you'd go 4 at the back, wouldn't he? Yeah. So I would go. What would you play 5 at the back? It depends.
That's the thing, I mean,
it'd be Lundstram or Dendoncker, wouldn't it? So.
But I think in the long run, it's not looking really good. Yeah, but in the long run, it's not really looking good because he only has 5 attackers that are really gonna fetch him points. So I think that's an area where,
He does have his wild card to sort that out, though. So
yeah, if he's up for a wild card after like game week 4 or something, then definitely yes. But like it looked fine for this week, but we'll have to look at the fixtures if this is gonna be fine for next week. Because if he's gonna take a hit and still the team isn't gonna be ideal for game week 4, then I think it may be better to just ignore Kane for now.
Is he taking a hit though? Isn't it 2 free transfers?
No, he has only one free transfer. I think he made one in game
So
week.
that Van Dijk move
it
and
would be
Wilson.
-4. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
The caption at the bottom says it will be -4 to do that move.
Yeah.
But I mean, you'd fancy, for my opinion, probably Kane to outscore Wilson.
Yeah, in the
by
short
4.
run, I think in the short term it will be good, but I think the
Well, I
balance
don't
is a little off.
I don't see a problem with that personally, even with playing Dendonker sometimes. I don't think that's an issue at all. And if he makes that Kane transfer, his team is pretty similar to most wildcard teams, to be honest.
That is true.
So I definitely would prefer that -4 move rather than going for Rashford. So Kane
that
and
is true, actually.
Lundstram is the best move in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should go for it too.
Sounds good, yeah.
All
He's
right.
going to come back with a stack of pizza. And, oh no!
Sorry, I have to get a hornet's nest treated outside my home. So.
Oh.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Were you debating what type of pizza you'd ordered?
All right. So Pirlo, I think, has 2 of them here, unless he's posted other ones. He is on wildcard. So, oh boy, it's like nearly similar to Boston. So you can kind of refer to what we said.
The teams have at least 8 or 9 in common, don't they? So
This is almost identical. Yeah. So there's that, and then this is let's see. All right, so he went for the Bo idea of going with Cantwell, and he's gone for Zinchenko and Wan-Bissaka in the back line.
Yeah, that is my team.
That is
my team.
This is Pirlo.
No, I mean that's exactly what I have right now.
Yeah.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah. I think.
I think so.
This is actually probably you could debate whether you want Wan-Bissaka or you want another, an AML or somebody else in that area, but I think the core 8 or the core 7 in the front is the way probably to go if you're on wildcard.
There's just no wiggle room with this team because I'd do anything I could to try and get that extra half or 0.4 to get Digne instead of one of the Wan-Bissaka or Zinchenko. But when you look at the front 8, there's just absolutely no way you can shave that off. So it's just a conundrum,
So there has been a combination in my mind right now that you could go Wan-Bissaka downgrade and you could downgrade Wan-Bissaka to say Walker Peters and upgrade Zinchenko to Digne.
Yeah,
and
Maitland-Niles and someone like that as well.
Yeah, I think
that could be a move.
Yeah, he can
But
still
then
play,
again,
still play Montoya, Zinchenko then. No, sorry, Digne if he gets Digne for Zinchenko. And Soyuncu this week, or Lundstram. So Maitland-Niles isn't such a bad option if you think about it, because he allows you to get this Digne instead of Zinchenko, who, by the way, I really hate as an option because I'm really expecting him to be gone from the team in like 2-3 weeks' time. He offers nothing in attack.
I don't like
So
him.
I would definitely pay the extra for Digne.
He almost scored, actually, Zinchenko, at the weekend against Spurs. Didn't he have a shot that was well saved?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of a deflection, but you still expect Lloris to save that.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely agree. He's nowhere near the status of, say, the Liverpool fullback Digne or he's not going to get many goals. So
I think the thing with him is he's a really good 5.5 defender, but the thing is the options at 6 and 6.5 and 7s are really nice. So
are just so much better, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. So when you compare him with your Dignes and Alexander-Arnold and even Van Dijk, and he's not really anywhere close to it, but for 5.5 he's really decent. So it's a case of whether you can find that 500,000 or not.
Yeah.
I would push for it. I am pushing for it personally as well.
I mean, in this team, the 500,000, I'm not sure. Either go without KDB
Yeah.
or Martial. I mean, not personally.
That is the whole.
Or go one
Yeah.
week without Digne, keep Kane for 1 or 2, and then switch. But then, his run, like as we saw, was good from week 5. So,
What about Kelly at Crystal Palace? Are the centre backs all fit? Because maybe he can go Montoya to Kelly.
Well, Tompkins and Sacco are still out, but you expect both of them to be back sooner than later, especially with Crystal Palace playing the way that they are and defending the way that they are. So he's not an option, at least not until after like.
And I seen
game 4 or
Hodgson
5.
talking about Gary Cahill as well today. He mentioned him now. So
I think
So,
we discussed this.
okay,
I think
what did
Lundstrom's the only one.
What did he say about Cahill? Is he gonna start him or?
Oh, that he's handsome and he really loves him in the team, and he's gonna start probably.
Yeah, he will start, but okay.
Well, Cahill left Chelsea because he wasn't playing enough, and he said he feels he's fit enough to have another 2 years at least of his career. So he wouldn't go to Palace to sit on the bench there when he could have either gone down to the Championship or gone to another team where he'd start. So I think Cahill will come in, and then ultimately it'll be Cahill and Sacco, or is it Tompkins? Yeah.
And he said something. Hodgson said something in the lines that, sorry to interrupt you again, AK. That he's an experienced player and he can start in any kind of game, regardless of whether they're playing at home or away. So he kind of between the lines, he said that he's ready for a start, even though it's an away game. So.
I'm with you on. Sorry, Swan.
That's okay.
I think I'm with you on the Cahill factor that he will be a starter, but is he fit enough? Because I don't think he's had any preseason at all. And I think in 2 or 3 weeks' time, at least, at most, I mean, he'll be in the team. So Kelly is dead as an option there.
Yes, I think so.
I think all 4.0s are apart from Lundstrom, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if people are going to these 4.0 so they can cram into the midfield, but that means that they're going to have to play some of these defenders. So when you rock up to a game week and you're relying on one of the 4.0 starting and they're benched or not in the squad, then you're thinking, got a problem here, I need to change. So
but that's the thing, in 2 or 3 weeks' time, you're going to downgrade one of these attackers, but then you will have the money to upgrade, but you won't find a free transfer to upgrade that player. So it becomes a really difficult situation to be in.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so on PKW, he has 3 different options. He's on wildcard. First one is the Rashford draft, same exact midfield. He's gone for a non-playing 4.0 though, which is unusual, I guess, just to get the extra money for having 2 premium defenders. Second one is the Cantwell version, which has Digne in it. Same with an on-playing 4-0. Or I don't think Ramsey is a play. I've not heard anything. So
no, he's not.
Yeah. And then the Kane, this one's different. This one doesn't have KDB in there. It's gone for 2 premium or 2 budget midfielders. And going really big at the back with double city based on fixtures.
Yeah, this actually looks really good, by the way.
Yeah.
I think this is the best wildcard team I've seen.
Yeah. I really like the double city defense. I think it's a bit different. But I like that team actually, yeah.
It's 2 defenders who don't attack at all. Although we know Laporte can get set piece goals. But yeah, I mean it's definitely different, and it's flexible to downgrade any one of those 4 to help improve you elsewhere.
I would love if he somehow got Salah instead of Mane, but otherwise I really like this team. It's so balanced and so nice.
Yeah.
I think this is the best wildcard team. It's just that the feeling with Kevin De Bruyne is so strong right now that you want to go with him for the next 2 or 3 games and then maybe downgrade him to whoever whichever 5.5, 6, 6.5 midfielder stands out at that point of time. But this is the team. This is the best balanced team I've seen.
You wouldn't be able to get KDB without making big changes elsewhere, because obviously Mount to KDB is 3.5, and none of his defenders you could get 3.5 out of. So, but I do like that team a lot. I do. I think that
I do too, actually. And this has got me thinking on my wildcard even, that is Kevin De Bruyne really worth it, because he has Kane in this and he still has a really nice defense, so it can be done. I think this is the team I would go for from all the three.
Yes, I agree, and I stand by my statement that Kane is more essential than KDB in the wildcard team. So this one definitely out of the three.
Yeah, I think this is the best wildcard team I've seen this week, even.
Yeah, I do like the balance of it.
I think I would try and push for Arnold instead of Laporte, but because I think Laporte still, I mean, he's nailed and stuff, but 6.5 is still a little too much, even though he's okay with the attacking threat. But 0.5, if you can find the 0.5 for Arnold, I think it's a no-brainer for me.
I mean, Laporte's one of those defenders that'll chip in with goals and assists and corners every now and then.
He'll always be under the radar, it feels.
He would have got the assist against Spurs if it hadn't have hit his arm. So and I think you can rely on, for example, Alexander-Arnold or Robertson, for example. You just know that every game there's going to be chances for attacking returns, whereas Laporte, he's pretty much, it's very rare. Wasn't last year he only got a couple of goals and they were both in the double game week when he got massive hauls, which is kind of I think his price reflects his nailed onness as opposed to his points ability, which is and
the lack of City options around.
I'm thinking, given that he's already had Ramsey or whatever, the Southampton guy in the previous two drafts. Possibly if he downgraded Zinchenko to this non-playing defender and then upgraded Wan-Bissaka to Trent, it would look pretty good to me. It would be Digne, Trent, Laporte, and then Lundstrom, possibly rotating with Cantwell for the last spot, so switching between 4-4-2 and 3-5-2 would be a good idea, I think. I definitely prefer Trent as a premium non-stop playing defender.
I think that would even give money for Salah.
No, it would take 1.5 million from Zinchenko if you downgraded him to Ramsey and use the money to upgrade Wan-Bissaka to Trent.
Oh, okay. I was thinking about Laporte to Trent and then Mane to Salah if he's really scared about not owning Salah.
Yeah, there's plenty of options there anyway.
That's a good team, really good team.
That's a very good team. I agree. I think this is the team I would go for if he doesn't want to make any changes in either of these drafts.
Yeah, I agreed.
If Mason Mount doesn't turn out to be a great option, I mean, he can always downgrade to Ceballos when Arsenal's fixtures, turn, and that kind of frees up 0.5. He can then either, put it into goalkeeper, maybe get Leno, or upgrade Laporte to, Trent or something like that. So
even someone like Lanzini. Or
it is a flexible team. You basically get all the options apart from KDB, who will be really difficult to get. But apart from KDB, if you're set on not getting him, I think that's the team to go.
Yeah.
I apologize, guys, that they came early, but they had to come out and treat it. My 5-year-old got stung the other day, and we found out it's not a regular nest; it's a massive infestation in the ground. So they had to come out and treat it. So. Okay. So where are we at? Guarantees. Let's see. Oh, okay. So he likes this one the best, but take our advice, PKW. We kind of like the one without KDB the most.
Yeah, go with the other one.
The Kane one. The one with the Kane.
This is kind of a hybrid in that he went back to KDB, but he went with cheaper options up front, keeping the same back five. But yeah, I think I still like the Kane without the KDB one.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Darth, this is yours, Darth Kid. You want to talk through? Or did we already talk about your options?
Well, this is actually me. I mean, I just threw up my team there in case we discussed what we're doing this week, so we don't really need to talk about it. I've already made my transfers, which I might regret. So I've done a -4 to get that. So I've done King, Robinson, and Robertson to Pukki, Martial, and Soyuncu, or whatever you pronounce it. Yeah, so obviously that's the King to Pukki sort of made sense to me. I hate owning Bournemouth players, I always have, because they've never done anything good for me. They always score when I don't own them. They never score when I have them, and I felt like Pukki was a bandwagon worth jumping on. Robinson had that injury worry, and to me, I just feel like Martial is too good value to not jump on right now. I watched the United game, and he was centre forward for at least 75-80% of that game, and he's 7.5 and scoring. And I didn't think, as I said, I needed 2 Liverpool defenders at that time, so I got in that Soyuncu fella because him and Lundstrom rotate really well until about game week 10, I think it is, and by that time I'll probably have used or still have the wild card, in which case I can rearrange a little bit. So I was lucky. I started the season with KDB, and now everyone's wild carding or taking big hits to get him in. So I didn't need to do that. So I got that team just with a -4. So I'm pretty happy with that because it means I didn't have to panic or do things I might regret just to fit him in. Not sure on Jota at all yet, but especially with the Europa League midweek. But I'll give him at least that Burnley game and maybe one more after that. I still think he's a good option. And as I said, it gives me time to assess the other options we discussed. I've got 0.8 million in the bank, so it could be Haller, it could be Keane, it could be any of the other 6.5s. Obviously, no Kane is the worry, but I said at the start of the cast that I'll sort of have a bit of fear, but I'm willing to go without to avoid disrupting the rest of my team.
Now, I'm with you on Jota. I actually bought him too. He was my replacement for King. I bought me into Pukki and then got Jota in, giving me enough funds in the bank to get any one of the 6.5s as a replacement, and I bought Jota probably in the next couple, depending on Europa. Could do just as well as any others. So
you better be cheering for Torino tonight because if they do qualify to the Europa League, it's going to be a nightmare. I would love to see them go out and be proper FPL options again, because right now I'm not really keen on anyone apart from maybe Dan Donker because of his price.
It's at the most for the next 3 or 4 before I actually wildcard. So we'll see how it goes. I wasn't, Keane is still not playing for Everton, at least starting yet. Wasn't happy with any of the Brighton rotation, so it was the best thing I could do.
Yeah.
When is the Wolves game in the Premier League? Is it on Saturday or Sunday?
It's Sunday, same time as Tottenham.
Sunday, right.
We talked Salamane, just stuff from Cynic about the difference in the goals. Might be done, unless anybody has anything else. Oh, we had more than... Oh, Jossie has a bunch at the end. Hold on. Here we are. The only quote talk about. So this is a wildcard team. Again, pretty template in the midfield for what we've been talking about. Trent and Digne in the back. So he's gone for no Kane or no big option up front, which is Barnes and Pukki. Not flexible at the front enough for me, especially if you want to jump on a Lacazette or whatever come in the next couple of game weeks. But
I think people are too quick to jump the gun on Salah to Mane. I would still every single time prefer Salah over Mane. I mean,
thank you, 100%.
Yeah, even I would thought it's what the million is doing for me in the wild card. That is the thing.
And I know that the 2019 stats people throw out that Mane scored more, but if you watch the games, almost everything still goes through Salah. He's on penalties. He's just. I'd feel much more comfortable captaining him, and just for 1 million more, I still would definitely go Salah. He's still the main man for me. Not that Mane's a bad option, but I still think Salah is.
Yeah, even I think that Salah is definitely worth 1 million over Mane. It's just that it enables 4 premiums. Even though I think I'm not sure about this team honestly. Because I never rate Barnes as an FPL option for some reason. I don't know, because he's been really good in 2019. But then again, I mean, Burnley, I mean, so unexciting.
The question I want to ask you, AK, would you be comfortable captaining giving the armband to Mane in most game weeks?
Yeah,
Personally, I
in
wouldn't.
home games. In home games, I would. In away games, I'm not sure, because I saw his stats. His home stats are really good over the last 2 or 3 seasons, but he's only had 4 goals each in the last 2 seasons away from home in 19 games, which is a worry. So
Yeah, and now
in home
suddenly he
games,
comes up with a goal and assist against Southampton, who he never scored against. My point is
yeah,
that Mane is so random, you know? You never know when to captain. And granted, he will score points over game weeks, but
yep,
I know with Salah, I'm just going to captain him at home against Newcastle and he's going to score. And Mane is
yeah,
so random, he can suddenly come up with 2 goals away from home after not scoring in 10 fixtures away from home. So this is the thing with Salah and Mane. Is that
yeah,
the Egyptian is just more predictable for me.
And
yeah.
I mean,
I'm with you on that.
you think of that game last year when Salah got like was it 4 goals? I think he got.
He was 4.
Yeah, and I don't really remember any times where Mane hauled and it did much damage to rank, or it was like a case of I have to get him in. But whereas with Salah, you can say he does have that fear factor. He does have that capability of punishing you in the ranks if you don't have him at crucial times.
I do feel with Liverpool, people like to jump on the one who scored the most, like the points the previous week. So
Yeah,
obviously I know Mane scored, Salah didn't. But if Salah had scored and Mane had blanked or not got as many points, then no one would be looking at Mane. It just so happens to coincide that this is like a big wildcard week and Mane hauled while Salah didn't. But I don't think that's particularly is indicative of going forward that Mane will be a better option, just because in 1 week there happens to be the first major wildcard week that he got like, what was it, 15 points or 13, something like that, and Salah got a blank. So
Would you
but the thing with Mane is, that so it has been a pattern today from Liverpool that the fullbacks are usually crossing to Mane's head, who happens to be at the back post and finding headers in good positions in an open net. So that happened a lot last season. So I looked at the stats and I looked at how exactly he was getting all those big chances, because I think I saw that between game week 28 and 38, he had 10 big chances, while Salah had 5. And 6 of those, I think 5 or even 6 of those were headers at the back post.
About
So
4 of them were offside as well.
yeah, so
that's because
that is there.
to float in those crosses, doesn't he?
Yeah, and always
he
finds
loves those
Mane at the
progressive
back
crosses,
post.
whereas
Yeah, just
Robertson
from memory, I think he had like 26 headed chances, more than any other player in the league. So this is a lot. This is a good point, and especially with the delivery of Trent and Robertson, it's a factor. But still, this
I mean,
giving
as
him
an
the arm.
asset, as an asset, Salah is definitely better. But it's just about trying to milk Mane out however much you can in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and then finding the money if it goes wrong. Then I mean, it's only $1 million at the end of the day, so it's not very difficult to get Salah, I think. But yeah, definitely I would say overall in general Salah is better than Mane as an FPL asset. But it's just about these stats are backing Mane up, and he looks to be in form. He scored against Chelsea as well, by the way. Salah didn't, so he's got the form.
Yep. If in this particular team here, Newcastle Liverpool is game week 5, so you can take a 2-week punt with Mount, and if it doesn't go, that's a downgrade to Cantwell, and then you have the money to get Salah. If you want to have Salah before Newcastle at home.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Honestly, I think Mane is I will captain Mane in home games. Definitely not in away games, looking at his away record. But at home games, if he's at home, I'm fine with captaining him. Not thinking that Salah won't outscore him, but he will get a decent score, is all.
So, okay, AK, I know you have to run soon, so we just got to your team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you did. Now you're reconsidering it, but so do we.
This is PP's team now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? That's all I can. We've gone through it.
1 out of 10, rip it up.
Yeah. So I actually like PKW's team. Yeah, you go, please.
I like that team.
Yeah.
You've got a good mix across the field. You've not taken a torch to the defense to get all those premiums. You've actually managed to balance having Kane up front, 4 strong midfielders and 2 defenders. As I've said earlier, I would really try somewhere to get Digne.
Yeah.
I think you're 0.2 off, which is a bit of a, it's one of those big annoyances, but I would really try perhaps downgrading Zinchenko, because I think Montoya, Lundstrom and Soyuncu have pretty good rotation, so you can always play at least 1, if not 2 of those.
Yeah.
But you have Cantwell as well. So I reckon you could go to Kyle Walker-Peters or Maitland-Niles and then upgrade Wan-Bissaka or one of those 5.5s to get Digne. So
I think you have the ability to sit Maitland-Niles if you get him for Zinchenko for the next 2, considering the rest of your roster, and upgrade Wan-Bissaka to Digne.
This is 100% the move I would recommend. The one that Swan said. So Zinchenko to Maitland-Niles and Wan-Bissaka to Digne. Otherwise, I really like this team, AK.
Yeah.
The problem with Maitland-Niles is the next 2 aren't really great. I mean, I wouldn't want to play him in the next 2. So isn't it better to go with Walker-Peters, who has at least the Newcastle game where Newcastle look really bad in attack, by the way. Joelinton just looks like the only guy attacking and there's no one around him.
And I think Joelinton is injured as well right now. So, I would expect Spurs to keep a clean sheet. He's a good shout. Yeah, he is a good shout. Although, would you play him away to Arsenal? See, that's the question. Because personally, I would actually favor Arsenal to beat Tottenham. Not saying they will keep a clean sheet. And obviously, as a Kane owner, you don't want to play Maitland-Niles against him. But I would fancy them.
Yeah, I honestly don't look at that fact if my striker is playing or not. I just look at the fixtures individually and see if they are playable or not. And I think they both aren't playable in that game because I think there's going to be goals in that game for both teams. But we'll have to look at the rotation.
Yeah, probably. Although Maitland-Niles is not only because he's not in my team because of clean sheets only. He's basically an attacking threat, which I really like in him. So I actually wouldn't mind playing him against Tottenham as long as it means you can actually get Digne in. I like this option.
Yeah.
And obviously you'll probably get more months of playtime from Maitland-Niles, so you'll get from Walker-Peters, unless he's moving to PSG, which I haven't. Unless Aurier is moving to PSG, but I haven't heard nothing about it.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, Joe, you're next.
All right. Well, this is a dilemma I've had for a long time: is whether I should get Perez out or keep him, play him or bench him, because as you can see, I've got Henderson and Lundstrom there. So it's a tough one whether I should play Perez or I should bench him. I really don't know, or maybe even sell him.
That's one of those annoying ones where you sort of want him to score because you've kept him for 3 weeks and he's in danger of dropping, but you sort of don't want him to score. It could cost you 8 points plus bonus.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna go wrong for you either way. If you transfer him out, he's gonna score.
Thanks, AK.
Leicester have to respond, right? I mean, they've got 2 draws in their first 2 and have looked very lethargic. And I mean, they have to. Sheffield's look great, but the opponent last week has nothing to offer going forward in Palace. So I would fancy Leicester away to Sheffield this week, and you would think Rodgers is going to start using Perez more as he did in the preseason. So it might be decent to start him here.
Yeah, the problem with Sheffield away, I think the problem with Sheffield away is I saw the game on Match of the Day and Sheffield look really organized, really well drilled.
They are, but again, in that case, they've played Bournemouth and Crystal Palace, which is not really
that's true.
Yeah, right.
Great opposition. And Leicester really impressed me actually against Chelsea. They've had a lot of touches in the box, a lot of passes in the box, and It's something
I
like
think-
a 1-1, 2-2 game. Maybe Leicester United can win.
I think the only move I would recommend is maybe moving to a West Ham midfielder, someone like Lanzini, because they've got really good long-term fixtures. But it's gonna be still kind of a differential, kind of a punt.
Which
So
one
it's-
would you recommend? Because I was thinking about it, but I'm not sure which one I would get. Basically, it's either
I think-
Fornals, Lanzini, or Anderson.
That's the thing. I mean, I think I would just go with Lanzini because he feels safe.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah,
I'm
me
pretty sure you know about Fornal's record in La Liga and how good he was in Villarreal. For one season, I think he had many assists. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really about your gut pick between those. But I think it would be a really exciting move there because West Ham have really decent fixtures.
Okay. Anyone else? Bo, Darfkid, Swan.
But go on, bro.
I was just going to say, obviously, I'm a bit biased because I've taken Perez out this week, so I'm hoping he doesn't really do too much. I was just a little bit concerned that he's not going to start. No, I'm not saying for definite he's not, but I mean, he's been hooked in the first two games and he hasn't really done all that much. Rodgers does have kind of more wider options in Barnes and Brighton, but I mean, obviously, it's more likely that he starts than he doesn't. But I've not really been, impressed by him. It's a really tough call. I mean, if he starts, he could score against Sheffield. It's kind of the classic case of poor form coming into better fixtures, If Dendoncker doesn't play the whole match tonight, I mean, obviously he's probably going to start this weekend anyway, but I'd nearly be tempted to just play Dendoncker. I mean, he's been getting pretty forward and I think he's had chances in both of Wolves games. He had the offside in the first match and then against United, he made a kind of a surging run towards the end that just went over. His shot went over. So
Yeah, that's true.
It's
I've
kind of
been
a hard call.
I've been a huge advocate of Dundunker, and I agree with you here. But the thing is, leaving the 6.5 midfielder on the bench kind of leaves a bad taste, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. Absolutely.
The more I think
So
about it,
it's
Joe,
really tough.
the more I think about it, the better it feels to save the transfer here because there are no still standout options.
Yeah, I definitely saved the free transfer.
That
So
would be my move as well.
I think we should, because it gives you more information too on which West Ham mid.
Yeah. Yeah, and then again, I mean, Sheffield United away on paper is a fixture you can go for without having to make a transfer out because
And then he's got Bournemouth then the week after. So if
if he
I would
scores,
probably start him against Bournemouth. Yeah.
yeah, and if he scores, then you'll be looking forward to the Bournemouth game for him.
Yeah.
And if not, then he's got 2 free transfers, 0.5 in the bank, and an extra
Yep.
week of information.
Yeah,
So
that can then be able to work.
I would save that team. Yeah, definitely. And you can always hope for Henderson saving a Vardy penalty and Perez gets the rebound. So.
That's what I'm thinking. Henderson saving the penalty, Lundstrom getting a brace, and Ayaza getting hat trick. Sounds good to me.
Let's see. JK. He's been talking about going back and forth about Albert Kane all week. So he doesn't want to fear of missing out on a Kane haul. So I think that's what he's doing. So his only move is Albert Kane. And then
Is it for a -4?
What's
I
that?
think it was.
Yeah.
I think it is a
Is
-4 because he didn't have Pookie.
He already got Pookie for King. I know that. So this would be his second free transfer of Albert Kane.
I mean, if it's for free, I don't see why not. If it's for -4, I mean, if you're expecting Kane to at least score one, the hit should repay itself. I guess it depends on whether down the line he is hoping to have another Arsenal player, because then it might be more sensible just to hold on to Aubameyang. So it's kind of a hard one to call.
I think the thing with Kane is his anytime goal scorer odds are really, really good this week. The probability is around 65. So he's a very good captaincy option this week.
Yep.
It's difficult. if he doesn't, because if he doesn't make the move, then who is he gonna captain? I think he's gonna captain Sterling, which is also a very good shout for this week. So I'm not really sure if I would do that for a -4.
I would.
But I can see why he wants to do it though, because Kane could haul against Newcastle.
Yeah.
It is a tough one, but I think I would say if I've told him that before to keep Aubameyang, and I'm not sure about the bench order here as well. I'm not sure what I would like to play Soyuncu instead of Lundstrom. I would probably play Lundstrom, although I see the point. You know, he does have Henderson and Ayoze Perez. So
I don't think he set his team yet, because I don't think he'd be captain Aubameyang, would he? So
Yeah, I think that is the thing. I think he would go
You
with
never know
Sterling.
with JK.
If he does the Kane move, he's going to captain Kane. If not, he's going to captain Sterling. I think that's what I heard.
Yeah.
I think transfers at this stage are too precious to keep hokey-cokeying the premium forward, because, I mean, as we saw last year, Kane, he blanked at home at Cardiff. It might just happen that he blanks this weekend, and then you've wasted a transfer that could have been used on sorting out Perez or, you know, put a defender on swapping over. So, I mean, Aubameyang's not exactly guaranteed to blank. You've seen what Liverpool defenders are like. He'll be up against Alexander-Arnold, who has been a bit shaky, hasn't he? So,
his goal scorer odds are really good for Aubameyang. It's like 2.7 in decimals, which is, you know, really, really low for a striker playing at Anfield.
Yeah. I would definitely not. I would save.
Roll the one to next week. Yeah. All right. We might have had balls posted. I don't know. Oh, that's you, JK. Okay. Or JL. Oh, so this is another option for Boss, apparently. I guess this is what he's on right now.
I can't remember the others now. That was a while ago.
This is the other ones had the same thing, but not with Keane. So I think what he's done here is he's gone away from the Kane in here in the cheap defense, and he spread the money getting Keane, and now has Digne and Laporte. So apart from from Keane, I think this is fine. Yeah, you're going to have to lose the midfielders to upgrade in the front if you want, but the structure seems to work here.
It's a good team. Although,
I think I like the Kane team much more personally.
Yeah, me too. I feel like judging by that team, he's never going to play Lundstrom and Soyuncu, so it feels like, why have you got that sort of pairing if they're never going to get on unless there's an injury or something? So I feel like the Kane team was better. I think it's too early to perhaps go on.
That is the thing. He's an Everton fan, so he might.
Okay.
He might want.
I mean, I'm excited about Keane. I was high on him beginning of the year, but it's too early, and he's too young, I think, to really.
Sorry, boss. I mean, I know you are an Everton fan. You want Keane in your team, but.
Just say it.
Yeah, I won't go for Keane right now.
I mean, let him have some fun. Come on, guys. I mean, he's an Everton fan.
Yeah, that is the thing. I mean, that team is good. If Keane starts and scores, then he's going mad.
Yeah, he could be laughing at us for not, going for Kane and everything. So.
Hopefully, though, he got him out of the team before he dropped this week because he's on wild card. So hopefully, he saved himself the money.
Yeah.
So. All right, boys. I think that's everything. Unless anybody else has anything else to go over.
Last week we started something where we all had to pick a scorer from a non-top 6 team this week, and it was quite cool. It might be cool if someone keeps a running tally. I think you two actually got yours right, and mine was a disaster.
No, I got mine wrong. I think JK got his wrong. I got mine wrong.
I think someone went Pookie. It might have been Bo actually.
Bo got Pookie.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think.
Cool to,
what about you, DK? I don't remember your pick.
I went with Callum Robinson from Sheffield United because I owned him, so I went out with hope as much as expectation. And that was
we can make this a running team for.
No, to be fair, he was a couple of inches from when the cross came in that the keeper saved where Lundstrom knocked it in.
It could have been Robinson. That is true.
So I could have had 10 points on the pitch instead of 14 on my bench. So, but alas, it didn't happen. So,
so I think we can make this a regular thing.
All right.
So I think it's kind of fun.
Yeah. So I didn't have last week's results. If somebody has them, can shoot them to me, and then I'll keep track of them going forward.
Yeah.
I think we'll have to ask JK because I can't remember. I was definitely Robinson.
Yeah, he would know.
Yeah,
Okay.
JK was on Adams and I was on
Did you go
Richarlison.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Richarlison.
I went Richarlison.
And
I would have gone for Robinson if I was.
So Bo is the only one who got the goals out of Pookie.
Well, the hashtag wins again, Bo. So
yeah.
I only wish I had brought him in now.
It's a little difficult this week because I mean, two of the worst defenses, Newcastle and Crystal Palace, are playing top 6 teams. So, DK, do you want to go first? Who would you pick from a non-top 6 to score?
It's tough. I'm going to go with Trossard. I think he looked pretty good last week. He had a goal in the first half, brilliant goal, ruled out for VAR. He scored again. He looked sort of the focal point of Brighton's attacking play. They're at home to Southampton, who have been pretty terrible thus far. I mean, well, the last 10-15 minutes against Liverpool, they looked okay, but I feel like Brighton have got a good chance with their new sort of attacking play. So I'm gonna go with him to get on the score sheet.
Bo?
I think I'm going to be a bit boring and say Raul Jimenez. Home to Burnley.
Yeah. Depends on Europa, I would guess, but yeah.
AK?
I think I'm gonna go with Moise Keane. Just for the goals. Yeah, I think I'll go with Moise Keane because I mean, okay, let's go, boss. I mean, yeah, Moise Keane it is.
We'll never live that down if he scored the hat trick now because you convinced him not to.
Yeah.
Joe?
I'll go for Deulofeu, probably West Ham or Mess. So I'll fancy him to score.
That's a good pick. Yeah, I like that one.
I'm torn between two options, and I don't want to seem like a homer and go for someone from Villa. So I'm going to go for Mape, hopefully from Brighton. Hopefully he starts. I've liked the look of him the last couple of weeks, especially when he came on. So Mape, I think, will be hopefully he starts, but he would be my pick. Otherwise, I would go Trezeguet. I think I really like what I saw last week from him, and I know McGinn's the pick of the litter right now, but he seems to be getting into good positions, and Wesley is being used more as a hold-up forward now, which is only going to help Trezeguet, El Ghazi, and McGinn.
So who did you go for again? Mbappe.
I'm gonna go Mbappe.
He's not a Liverpool player yet.
No,
Mape.
Mape from
Brighton striker.
Yeah.
All right.
Who are you guys going for captain? I'm on
Sterling.
I'm on Sterling because of the eye test, but after watching Newcastle last week, I'm thinking about Kane.
Yeah.
But then Bournemouth got very lucky, I think, against Villa because Villa were all over Bournemouth after conceding those 2 goals. And
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Sterling for me as well.
At the moment, I'm on Sterling.
If Spurs thrash Newcastle, I can see Bruce getting sacked. I think it's become a tragic mess there, but he hasn't got any control over the players right now, and they don't know what to do. So
yeah, that is the thing because I think there were reports that the players are basically coming out and saying that they don't understand what's going on there, and I think the whole camp is really not there yet mentally. So I think Spurs could run right there.
Bruce, to me, I don't mean to go on a side here, but it's part of what I've called the good old boy network of managers, where they're poor to mediocre, but they keep getting jobs. I don't know why these guys are back into the league.
Bruce out, Moyes in. I feel like the sack race is between him and Gracia from Watford. I feel like that they're the two who are probably going to be the 2 front runners. Yeah,
I really like the look of Wilder, by the way. I think he's very sorted and he knows what he's trying to do with Sheffield. He's not going really high, like he's not expecting a lot, but he's just going with a very well-organized team in the Premier League, and
Yeah, the overlapping center backs is a thing of beauty,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because for people that are into football tactics and the creativity and stuff, it's really looking good.
All right, guys. We'll keep track
Yeah.
of the cast of our what they used to call Fantasy Island on the Scout Cast, but we'll go forward with that there. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time. Thanks everyone
Yeah.
watching.
Best of luck.
Take
Cheers.
care.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Cheers. Good luck. Good luck with the game week.
You too.